Hello, I am Scott Leopold with Cooperative Strategies, and I'll be taking you through the facility master planning scenarios for District 3. This was shared with the community on March 21st at Englewood High School. I will now turn it over to Dr. Green for a brief introduction.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Diana Green, Superintendent for Duval County Public Schools. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I want to welcome you and encourage your active participation. Our consultants recently completed a study of each building to evaluate its condition. This Facilities Condition Index report was shared at community meetings throughout the district. Now we are moving into phase 2 of this process, shifting the conversation from past and present to the future. This evening and continuing over the next few weeks, our consultant will share and discuss a set of ideas designed to provide our students with an outstanding educational environment. Because the draft plan involves almost every one of our schools, we will be rolling out segments of the plan of proposed scenarios in each of the 7 school board member districts. You'll be able to see the entire plan outlined in a couple of weeks. I want to reiterate that what is being presented are the consultant's recommendations, and these recommendations are over a 10-year period. We need your input as we work through the details and develop a final plan. Ultimately, I will present the board with a very bold portrait of our future, a future in which public education is firmly established as a tremendous asset for living and learning in Duval County. Since each presentation is by school board member district, you'll only see a segment of the entire plan. I want to point out district level highlights from the draft scenarios, which include construction of 30 new schools as either replacements on site or on new sites, 17 consolidations impacting 42 schools with children from those schools attending new or renovated school buildings. Any buildings no longer in use as a result of the consolidations would be demolished and the land sold to prevent former schools from becoming future blight. Security upgrades at all schools and removal of the majority of portables from schools across the district. Cutting more than 5,000 student seats from the district's inventory and improving the district's facility utilization rate. I want to re-emphasize that this is a bold and long-term plan over a 10-year period. That's why your input is so important. If you like what you hear, tell us on the survey. If you have concerns, tell us that too. Your input will help us refine this plan and help me make the best possible recommendation to the school board. Thanks again for being here, and I look forward to hearing your input on these initial proposals.
Hello, I am Scott Leopold with Cooperative Strategies, and I will be taking you through the rest of this presentation. I would like to begin by providing some more detail and add some additional points to what Dr. Green has previously mentioned. This plan constructs 30 new schools through a combination of on-site replacements and new sites. This plan also upgrades school security at all facilities. This plan also removes the majority of portables from every campus. This plan performs major repairs to all facilities that are retained. The building age of all the schools in the district would be reduced by a total of 13 years, so the average age would go from 44 years old down to 31 years old. This plan reduces a net of more than 5,000 total seats. This plan performs 17 consolidation packages into new or renovated schools. This impacts 42 current schools that would go into either replacement facilities on their current site, renovations or new facilities or renovated facilities at new locations. This plan would also save millions in annual operational revenue. This plan would increase school utilization from 82 to 86%. This would also provide 27% of the square footage in the district with new buildings. So nearly a fifth of all square footage in Duval County would be new after this plan were to be implemented. And finally, this plan would remove $1.07 billion in backlogged repairs. The total cost to implement this plan would be $1.95 billion. That would be $922 million in improvement, renovations, and additions, and $1.03 billion in new construction. I now would like to go through some terminology that you'll see prevalent throughout this presentation. Enrollment. Enrollment is the number of students attending a school. For planning purposes, we used a 5-year enrollment projection to the 2023-24 school year for each school. Capacity. This is the number of students a campus can hold. It is defined by the state of Florida and does include portables. FISH, or the Florida Inventory of Schoolhouses. This is the state standard that defines school capacity. Utilization is the percentage that is calculated by dividing enrollment by capacity. Facility Condition Index, or FCI. This is the percentage that is calculated by dividing the identified physical deficiencies of a building by its total replacement cost. Consolidation. This is the action of combining 2 or more schools into one campus. This may result in 1 or more schools being vacated. Swing space. In some cases, some vacated campuses may be retained for use as swing space to serve as temporary locations for whole schools to occupy while their schools are being renovated or replaced. This slide provides some more detail on our Facility Condition Index. Again, the FCI is the percentage of the repair costs divided by the total replacement cost of a building. If a facility has a FCI of less than 5%, that is some of the best condition that we have in the county. If the FCI is greater than 65%, that facility would be a candidate for replacement. This slide and the following 2 slides just give us an example of what the utilization looks like at the district-wide level. This map shows every elementary boundary color-coded by its utilization, and this does include portables. So in the dark blues, we have the facilities that are less than 75% utilized, and that includes 43 campuses. We have 3 campuses at the elementary level that are greater than 105% utilized. It should be noted that this map only shows boundaries and their associated utilization, but there are additional magnet schools that may be over or underutilized that are reflected in our data but aren't shown on the map because they don't have boundaries. This slide shows the middle schools. We have 5 campuses that are less than 75% utilized, and then 2 campuses that are more than 105% utilized. And finally, here's the high school map. We have 4 campuses that are less than 75% utilized, and we have 1 campus that is greater than 105% utilized. This slide shows our planned funding for all of these scenarios combined. This is the $1.95 billion broken out by board member district. As you can see, District 4 and District 5 account for nearly 45% of the total allocation. This is because Districts 4 and 5 have the most need. They have the most schools that are the oldest. Other districts like District 1 and District 7, District 2 to an extent, have less of an allocation because they have newer facilities that don't have as much need as Districts 4, 5, and even 3. Now we will begin to go through the detailed scenarios for District 3. The map on the left shows all the schools in District 3. It should be noted that the boundaries for some schools extend into other districts. The background shaded boundaries denote elementary boundaries, the orange outlines are middle school boundaries, and the purple outlines are high school boundaries. The blue lines denote board member districts. The scenarios for this area construct 8 new schools, which are replacements on site or new sites. School security is updated at all sites. The overall building age is reduced by 15 years, going from 54 years down to 39. 28% of District 3 would be replaced with brand new square footage. This performs major repairs at all school facilities. This removes the vast majority of portables and reduces a total of 29 seats. This area has 2 consolidation scenarios that impact 5 schools, which results in replacements, renovations, or new locations for all of those students. School utilization is increased from 88% to 89%, and $167 million in backlogged repairs are removed. The total cost in this area is $327 million, with $144 million in improvements and renovations and $183 million in new construction and additions. I'll now be going through the replacements, renovations, and additions for District 3. Beauclair Elementary is a replacement on site. Brookview Elementary is a renovation. Englewood Elementary is a replacement on site while balancing enrollment with Love Grove and Spring Park. Greenfield Elementary is a renovation and a 10 classroom addition. Hendricks Avenue is also a renovation and a 10 classroom addition. Holiday Hill is a replacement on site. Kings Trail is a replacement on site while balancing enrollment with San Jose. Pine Forest is a renovation. San Jose is a replacement on site while balancing enrollment with Kings Trail. What this means between San Jose and Kings Trail is that currently San Jose is a larger facility than Kings Trail. These facilities would be replaced at the same size for the enrollment of the combined schools, and we'd have to balance enrollment between the two schools via boundaries. Southside Estates is a replacement on site while consolidating Windy Hill Elementary. Spring Park is a replacement on site, similar to San Jose and Kings Trail. This would be replaced along with Englewood, which would then help consolidate Love Grove, and we'd have to balance enrollment from Love Grove between Spring Park and Englewood. Windy Hill is a consolidation into the new K-5 at Southside Estates, and we'd convert the site to a new ESE center to replace Mount Hermon. This is a replacement in two locations. We'd have one on the west side of the district and one on the east side of the district. And just as a reminder, Mount Hermon is part of District 4. Southside Middle School is a renovation. Sandalwood High School is a 32 classroom addition, and the Alden Road ESE Center is a renovation and a 6 classroom addition. Now I'll provide a little bit more detail on the consolidations in District 3. Love Grove would consolidate between Spring Park and Englewood. Per the previous slides, both Spring Park and Englewood would be full replacements, and so both of these schools would be new. We would just have to balance enrollment between the current Love Grove boundary and Spring Park and Englewood. Windy Hill is a consolidation into Southside Estates, and so this is a whole consolidation, so the boundary for Windy Hill would just go 100% to the new Southside Elementary replacement. The Windy Hill site would be converted with new construction for a new ESE center for that eastern portion of Mount Hermon. Again, Mount Hermon is currently in District 4, and Mount Hermon would split between two different locations, and this would be the location on the east side of the district. This slide and the next slide show all of the information associated with every school in District 3, with each school being its own line item. This just shows the elementaries. We have the middle school, the high schools, and the new facilities on the next slide. But you can see we have school name, we have FCI, which is again is facility condition index. We have the 5-year utilization based on the current configuration, and so this is essentially the do nothing scenario. We have our FCI deficiency cost, we have our action. Just to kind of show you how this works, so we show Beauclair here, we show demolish and replace on site. We have in our renovation demolition costs a value here of $962,000. That is just to renovate or just to demolish that building. The replacement for that building will be found on the next sheet under replacements. So we show all of our demolition and renovation costs here, our new construction costs, which would account for any school that is getting an addition, and then we show our total cost and our resulting utilization. We have some grayed out cells here. Those are for the facilities that are being replaced, and those can be found on the next slide. So here's the same data for the middle schools, high schools, the ESE facility, and then you can see we have all of the replacements. And so then we show what the action is, what the costs are. So here's the renovation and demolition costs, new construction costs for our total costs, and then our resulting utilization. One thing that I do want to point out is that this is our identified FCI deficiency costs per the condition assessments. We do show a renovation cost that's a little higher than that. So we have got $9,855,000 in identified deficiencies, but we're allocating a little over 10.5 million, and that's because we have extra dollars in there allocated for safety and security upgrades. And so that's why those numbers aren't identical. That delta is safety and security. That concludes this presentation. Wanted to let you know that the project website is online. The URL is bit.ly/DCPS FMP, or you can use the QR code to the right. This includes all materials along with an online survey. Your feedback is very important to us. We want to know how you feel about the scenarios as they're presented. We'd also like to know if specifically if there's anything that you think that we could do better, any changes that you think that we can incorporate into any recommendations that go to the superintendent that you feel it will make it a stronger plan. The survey will remain active until midnight on April 2nd. And again, thank you for taking the time to view this presentation, and we look forward to seeing your feedback.